On a warm evening in March of 2025, the American Idol stage was filled with anticipation as the competition began. The 23rd season had already presented a parade of raw talent, grief, and aspirations that were lit flame. Nevertheless, as the final audition episode was drawing to a close, a young woman from Dallas, Texas, who was 17 years old, strode into the spotlight, ready to completely change the environment. Canaan James Hill, an aspiring preacher with a voice that seemed to hold the weight of generations, was about to deliver a performance of Ernest Pugh's gospel anthem, I Need Your Glory, that would leave judges Lionel Richie, Carrie Underwood, and Luke Bryan, as well as a whole nation, speechless. Hill's performance was about to leave the nation dumbfounded. This was not only a tryout, rather, it was a moment of divine resonance, a demonstration of the force that can be achieved when faith and artistic ability come together. Canaan's rendition, which stirred the emotions of the audience, not only earned him a golden ticket to Hollywood, but it also earned him the coveted platinum ticket, a rare honor that established him as a formidable opponent. While Canaan was introducing himself, there was a hush in the room. In spite of the fact that he had graduated from high school ahead of schedule in order to pursue his passion, he maintained an air of calm assurance that belied his age. He wore a big cross necklace against his breast, which served as a tacit expression of the religion that served as his anchor of stability. Prior to his appearance before the judges, he shared with the host, Ryan Seacrest, that he was a member of a gospel family. My grandfather is a gospel musician, and it was listening to him sing songs about Jesus that gave me the inspiration to pursue a career in music. When asked why he had accelerated his studies, Canaan gave a decisive response, saying, "So that I can move forward with my gift and do what God has called and chosen me to do." There was a sense among the judges that something unusual was going to take place, and they exchanged glances. When Canaan started singing, I Need Your Glory, it felt as though the atmosphere became more charged with feelings. The beginning of his speech was gentle and almost frail, like a prayer that was spoken in the shadows. I am in need of your glory, and I am seeking your glory. The listener was drawn into a sacred space by each note, which was played with specific intent. As the song gradually developed, Canaan's command was mesmerizing. His tone was velvety smooth, while also bursting with a sense of intensity. By the time he reached the crescendo of the song, his voice had already achieved its peak, and it had filled the entire room with a strength that seemed to radiate from another universe. It was not merely singing, rather, it was a declaration, a heart that was exposed, and a spirit that was striving for something more significant. Despite the fact that he has witnessed a great number of concerts, Lionel Richie was unable to remain seated. It appeared as though he was attempting to physically detach himself from the intensity of what he was witnessing, as he pushed his chair back and his eyes widened halfway through the presentation. After that, he stood there, pacing with his hands lifted, immersed in a moment that was beyond the scope of the competition. The expression on Carrie Underwood's face was a mixture of astonishment and disbelief. Her own voice, which is a benchmark of emotional depth, was frozen in place. Luke Bryan, who is known for his witty remarks, leaned forward with his mouth slightly agape, as if he was attempting to comprehend the absolute immensity of Canaan's generous gift. In addition, the audience was completely captivated, with some members swaying and others openly moved to tears. As soon as the last note was no longer audible, the quiet was electric. Lionel approached Canaan and placed both of his hands on his shoulders as he passed him. As he spoke, his voice was thick with passion as he said, "That was powerful. You have been very fortunate in your life. This was something so incredible that I am at a loss for words to adequately convey what I heard." It appeared as like he was at a loss for words as he paused and shook his head. "Are you willing to do that once more?" With a response that was uncomplicated and humble, Canaan situation, Carrie discovered her voice. She remarked, "It's like velvet butter," while gesturing with her hands as if she were attempting to convey the texture of our conversation. Sincere but powerful in flavor. I'm just a little bit speechless. What have you been doing for the past 17 years? Do you possess a talent? As someone who was never one to pass up an opportunity to make a joke, Luke jumped in with a grin and asked, "When you sing at church, what do people do there? Do they simply dash to the baptism pit, jump in, and immediately realize that they have been saved?" Despite the fact that the room was filled with laughing, the message was unmistakable. Canaan's voice was not just beautiful. It was transforming at the same time. No hesitation was shown by the judges. Canaan headed to Hollywood after receiving 3 thunderous yes votes, but Luke had a sparkle in his eye the entire time. When he addressed his other judge, "What are you ready to do, Lionel?" he nudged his companion judge towards the platinum ticket display, which was a sparkling emblem of exceptionally uncommon potential. Lionel made his way across the room, briefly fumbling with the case in an attempt to provide some comic relief. Luke then intervened and yanked the ticket out of the case. While they were presenting it to Canaan, Lionel provided an explanation of its significance, saying, "This means that you are able to avoid the first round of Hollywood Week. You get to relax and observe all of the victims you are going to kill right before your eyes." The response that Canaan gave was one of unadulterated joy yet modesty. While he was holding the ticket, he exclaimed, "Wow! To God be the glory. I am grateful to you." His mission was crystal evident when he turned to the cameras as he was leaving the audition room. He said, "I am so ready to spread the gospel, and that is exactly what I am going to do." He made a vow to incorporate his faith into each and every note that he sang, and it was a promise that felt just as much about his music as it did about his ministry. Not only was the performance a highlight of the evening, but it was also a very significant cultural occasion. People from all walks of life, including fans and strangers, were awestruck by the young man who had transformed the stage of a reality program into a safe haven. Canaan's audition was widely shared on social media. Even the original creator of the song, Ernest Pugh, came to Instagram to express his admiration for him, writing, "Congratulations, at Canaan Sang's wonderful job." To a great extent, he did honor to this song. To whom I am thankful. Canaan's influence extended well beyond the praises that he received, despite the fact that he was just 17 years old when he received such an endorsement. His audition struck a chord with anyone who had ever experienced a sense of calling and who had ever had the courage to dream of something that was greater than their lives. The exceptional nature of Canaan's performance was not solely attributable to his technical expertise. On the contrary, his vocal range and control were indisputable examples. Authenticity was the quality that he brought to each and every phrase. Canaan had learnt at an early age that music could be more than just a form of pleasure. It could be a conduit for something sacred. He had learnt this information while growing up in a gospel family and singing in church alongside his grandfather. "I Need Your Glory" became more than just a song. It became a testimony because of the conviction that was reflected in the song. He did not perform for the sake of receiving praise. Rather, he sang in order to connect with others, to inspire them, and to pay tribute to the gift that he believed originated with a unique edge as season 23 proceeded into Hollywood Week. Yet, it also brought with it a significant amount of pressure. As a result of the judge's decision to place him in the lead, millions of people were now focusing their attention on him. If his audition was any indication, however, Canaan was prepared for the role. The combination of his unwavering sense of purpose, his voice, and his unwavering faith was a trinity that had the potential to carry him far, possibly even to the conclusion. For the time being, however, the memory of that night in March continued to linger. A young man from Dallas, standing on his feet, lighting up the American Idol stage with a fire that seemed to have been sent from heavens above. A performance by Canaan James Hill served as a reminder of the power that music possesses to bring people together, to heal, and to inspire in a society that is frequently jaded and divided. There was a moment when a young man's voice became a beacon of hope, and it was a moment when their skill met their destiny. And as he held that platinum ticket, beaming with thanks, there was one thing that was certain. Canaan wasn't simply pursuing a goal. He was obeying a call. Canaan had already triumphed over something that was more significant than a contest, because to the fact that the song, "I Need Your Glory," was still playing in the hearts of those who had heard it. The path that lay ahead of them offered further trials. Because of him, we were all reminded of what it meant to sing with intention.